A U.S. Marine shoved her in the mess hall. Then 4 generals walked in and saluted her first. The mess hall went silent the moment it happened. Metal trays clattered, conversations stopped mid-sentence. Every head turned. A U.S. Marine had just shoved her. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't crowded. It was deliberate. She staggered half a step, but didn't fall. Her tray tilted, food sliding, but she caught it with one hand. Calm, controlled, almost unnaturally so. She wore plain civilian clothes, no rank, no patches, nothing to signal authority. To everyone watching, she looked like she didn't belong there, just another outsider who wandered into a place reserved for uniforms and hierarchy. The Marine scoffed. "Watch where you're going," he said loudly, making sure others heard. A few nervous laughs followed. She didn't respond. She simply straightened her posture, adjusted her grip on the tray, and met his eyes, not with anger, not with fear, but with something older, measured, assessing. The Marine felt it, but didn't understand it. "Civilians don't eat here," he added, stepping closer. "You lost?" Still, she said nothing. She moved a step past him. That's when he shoved her again, harder this time. Chairs scraped back. Someone muttered, "Hey," but no one stepped in. Rank mattered here, and the Marine wore his confidence like armor. She finally spoke, her voice low and steady. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." The Marine laughed. "Yeah, says who?" Before she could answer, the heavy double doors at the far end of the mess hall opened. 4 men walked in. Not officers, not colonels, generals. 4-star insignia caught the overhead lights like fire. Conversations died instantly. Marines jumped to their feet, snapping to attention, boots slamming in perfect unison. The Marine who had shoved her froze mid-smile, because the generals didn't look at him. They looked at her. Every single one of them stopped. Then, without a word spoken, they raised their hands and saluted her first. The mess hall stood frozen in disbelief, and the Marine realized, far too late, that he hadn't just shoved a civilian. He had shoved someone the highest command in the room answered to. The salute held for a full second longer than protocol demanded. Then the generals lowered their hands. No one moved. No one breathed. The Marine who had shoved her stood rigid, color draining from his face as reality caught up to him. She turned slowly to face the generals. At ease, but not relaxed. "Ma'am," the senior general said, his voice calm but edged with respect, "we didn't expect you so early." She nodded once. "Schedules change." The general stepped aside instinctively, clearing her path. That single movement told the room everything it needed to know. She outranked them all. The Marine swallowed hard. "Sir, I didn't—" One of the generals raised a finger. Not another word. The mess hall remained frozen as she set her tray down on the nearest table, movements deliberate, unhurried. "This isn't about him," she said quietly. "It never is." The senior general studied her face, still protecting the chain of command. "Still expecting it to protect itself," she replied. He gestured toward a side door. "May we talk?" She glanced once at the Marine. No anger, no triumph, just acknowledgement. Then she followed the generals out. Behind them, the mess hall erupted into whispered chaos. "Who is she? Did you see that? 4 generals? First?" In the hallway, the generals fell into step behind her without realizing it. "Your presence complicates things," one of them said carefully. She stopped. Good, that was the point. They reached a secured conference room. The door closed. "You're supposed to be retired," another general said. She met his eyes. "I'm supposed to be forgotten." Silence followed. "You don't walk into a Marine base without a reason," the senior general said. She folded her arms. "There's a problem in your ranks, cultural,
structural, and operational. The generals exchanged looks. "And you chose the mess hall?" one asked. She allowed herself a faint smile. That's where the truth shows itself first. The Marine outside the door stood alone now, realizing his shove had triggered something far larger than discipline. It had summoned judgment.
The conference room lights hummed softly as the generals took their seats. She didn't. She remained standing, hands loosely clasped behind her back, eyes scanning the room out of habit. Old habits from a life that never truly leaves you. "You trained all of us," the senior general said at last, "directly or indirectly." She nodded once. "And I buried more friends than I care to count." One of the generals leaned forward. "The Marines know you as a name, a rumor." "They weren't meant to know me at all," she replied. She reached into her jacket and placed a thin folder on the table. No markings, no classification stamps. Inside were after-action reports, redacted lines, names missing, faces blurred, patterns only someone at the very top would recognize. "You created the doctrine for joint force integration," another general said slowly. "Special operations coordination, adaptive command." "I fixed what broke people," she said. "Then I broke the system that allowed it." Silence settled again. "You are here because something failed," the senior general said. "Yes," she replied, "and because you didn't see it." She tapped the folder. Unchecked authority, rank without accountability, when discipline becomes ego. The image of the Marine in the mess hall hung unspoken in the air. "He's not the disease, he's a symptom." One general exhaled. "You could have handled this quietly." She met his gaze. "Quiet is how it grew." The door buzzer sounded. The senior general looked up. "Yes?" "Sir," a voice came through. "The Marine involved. He's requested to speak." She turned toward the door. "Good," she said. "Bring him in." Moments later, the Marine entered, helmet under his arm, posture rigid, eyes down. He stopped when he saw her. She looked at him steadily. "Do you know who I am?" "No, ma'am," he replied honestly. "That's the problem," she said. She turned back to the generals. "You've taught them to follow rank, not responsibility." The Marines stood frozen, realizing this wasn't about punishment. It was about example. And whatever came next would be remembered long after today. The Marine swallowed hard, his eyes fixed on her. "You don't get it, do you?" she said calmly. "It's not about me. It's about what you do when no one's watching." The generals watched silently, nodding subtly, knowing she spoke the truth. She stepped closer to the Marine. "Discipline isn't a shove. Leadership isn't a title. Both are earned every day, every action." He straightened, shame and awe warring across his face. "Ma'am, She lifted a hand. "No excuses, only lessons." The senior general cleared his throat. "She's right," he said. "This isn't punishment, it's accountability." The other three generals nodded in unison. Their gaze held weight, years of experience, authority, and now agreement with her silent command. She turned, gesturing toward the mess hall doors. "Lead by example. Every tray, every step, every word. The Marines you train will follow the example you set, not the uniform you wear." The Marine exhaled, finally understanding. "Yes, ma'am." She smiled faintly, a rare softness breaking through her usual calm. "Good. Now go. Serve better than before." The generals stood, one by one, saluting her, not for rank, not for tradition, but for respect earned. The Marine followed suit, hands clasped, posture straight, salute held. The mess hall behind them buzzed quietly again,
whispers spreading, but everyone understood. This was no ordinary officer. She was a standard, a reminder, a living lesson. She stepped away, walking with the ease of someone who knew her place in the world, even if others never fully understood it. The generals trailed behind, respect unspoken but absolute. And the Marine who had shoved her, he would never forget it. Because in that moment, he learned what true leadership looked like.